Hello, Connective. Today we have another reading. It's going to be a combined reading from the Psychic Reading cards and the Mediumship Training deck. We're looking for one card from each deck. See if we can get a combined message. Cards are behaving really well here. Just looking for one card from this deck, please, for this reading today. Alright, this one fell first. Ooh, white light. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Feathers came out with it, but feathers we're not going to take because we want one card for these. And white light is a good card because this one has not come out. So it's going to be very interesting how it goes together here with the Mediumship Training deck. Let's see if we can get one card, please. Wow. Clairvoyance. So let's read white light first. Let's see what white light has to say here. That is card number 36. White light. Okay. White light. The universe surrounds you with light and protection. You have received this card as the universe wants you to know you are protected and loved from above. White light is universal energy that is available for your protection at will. The angels of the universe reside on the spiritual level and you have the ability to call them in when and if you need them. The white light psychic reading card is a gentle reminder that whenever you are worried, feel unsafe, or are in need of heavenly protection, you can simply call on the universe to surround you with its warm, protective, radiant light. White light is a protective bubble that keeps you safe from any negative thoughts, feelings, energies, or entities you may feel you have around you. These energies can be a living person on the earthly realm or a deceased being in the spirit realm. White light has been called on since the dawn of time to protect any human being who feels they are in need of assistance from above. As your guardian angel and your loved one in spirit reside in this realm and vibrate at this frequency, it is important to remember to call on them when needed. You may sometimes feel so stressed and disconnected from the universe that you forget there is also help at hand from the universe and the spiritual realms above. Calling in white light is such a simple thing to do, and it can immediately lift your vibration and mood and your feeling of being safe. The universe wants you to know in your heart you are always safe and protected from above. Do not ever hesitate to ask for assistance from the universe, angels, and loved ones in spirit. Okay, so we might need to leave this book open to address a couple things it talked about. Yes, everything that card said was true. Okay, let me go to clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is the inner sense of seeing. It's when you receive images, pictures, symbols, words, and colors. It's not about seeing in the physical sense with your eyes. It's about using your inner eye, better known as the third eye. When a medium is using their ability of clairvoyance to work with a spirit, the person who has passed will often send visual images to the medium's mind. An experienced medium receiving similar images will be able to interpret them from their own psychic database and often know immediately what they mean. A great way to train and sharpen your clairvoyant ability is to listen to guided meditations using visualization techniques that take you on beautiful journeys in your mind's eye. Spend time outside and notice everything around you, whether it's the deep blueness of the sky or the calming greenness of the grass and trees. Try to notice all the diverse cultures of people, places, and things you're exposed to every day. Many developing mediums want to see clairvoyantly into the spirit world. We believe it's important to start by looking at and noticing your surroundings right here in the physical world. The spirit world can use everything your physical eye records as visual prompts in the future. If you follow this advice, you'll be training your eyes and your mind to notice and store more. This practice will greatly assist you in developing your clairvoyant strength. Wow, there's a lot of information on these two cards. I do want to point out where it said a great way to train and sharpen your clairvoyant ability is to listen to guided meditations using visualization techniques that take you on beautiful journeys in your mind's eye. I have talked about in other videos how your visualization skills can really help you out in your spiritual awakening, because your visualization is what helps you, like when you're trying to do something. It could be anything. But yeah, I mean, one of these cards talked about protecting yourself. When you can actually visualize that protection happening, it just helps. It helps in a lot of ways, I believe. But I'm a visual person. So it's possible that someone who's not as visual, someone who's okay just hearing things or feeling things, doesn't need to see them, they may not feel the same way about that. So I just want to throw that out there in case there's other visual people who understand what I'm talking about, and there's other people who go, what are you talking about? It might be something different for you. Like if you're more of a person who likes, to feel things, then it'll be that for you. So just keep that in mind. Definitely keep that in mind, because I didn't realize that I was a visual person for a really long time, but I should have. Because I would live with people and they would I used to live with someone who would yell at me from the other room, Pam, blah, 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 blah. And I can't hear you, so I would get up, walk into the bedroom, stop at the door and go, what? And I was with this person for 6 years. We did this a lot, where I would get up, go over there and say, what? Because not only can I not hear you, but again, I don't want to have a conversation that's where I'm yelling back at you now. But on top of that, yeah, I'm more comfortable just seeing the person. And even with my intuition and everything, because with my intuition, when I'm looking at someone, I pick up their visual cues, but they're things that other people don't see. So visually, definitely, visualization helps for me. So definitely keep that in mind, because, I swear there'll be a time when you need to do some kind of thing that you're trying to do spiritually, and you'll realize that if you can see it, that it will be easier. That goes for so many things, but I'm just thinking that if for some reason this isn't what I'm saying right now isn't resonating with you, that it will with something if you pay attention. And there was something else that it said after that I wanted to address. Oh, okay. Spend time outside and notice everything around you, whether it's the deep blueness of the sky or the calming greenness of the grass and trees. Try to notice all the diverse cultures of people, places, and things you're exposed to every day. Many developing mediums want to see clairvoyantly into the spirit world. We believe it's important to start by looking at and noticing your surroundings right here in the physical world. Two things there. So the first one is that whole thing about the blue sky and the green grass. People who aren't even on spiritual awakenings, maybe they might be, but I'm talking not specific to people who are on spiritual awakenings right now. I'm talking about people who could possibly be considered or consider themselves as depressed. Sometimes if they do happen to go out in nature, which again, if you're depressed, sometimes you don't want to do that. If they do happen to go into nature, the sky doesn't look as blue and the grass doesn't look as green. And they'll notice a difference if they do something physical about their depression. They'll go outside and they'll say, wow, I had no idea that my neighbor's grass was that green. It has to be that green every day, not just today, and so it's one of those things where, yeah, your mood could greatly appreciate that, you could be greatly appreciative of something like that when you're in a better place and you're noticing it, by the way. But also that when you're noticing it, it can put you in a better place. We've talked before about going out into nature and make, how connecting with, nature for a lot of people, probably everybody, makes them feel better. And so that's another thing too, is you can go out into nature and just be like, wow, I had no idea the trees were this green out here or the sky was this blue. I've actually had that happen to me before, where I had walked somewhere. I had done something different and then was walking back. So it was the same day, but I felt better. My spirits were a little bit lifted on the way back. And I looked at the same lawns and the same sky and couldn't even remember if there was clouds when I had walked there. So, just to give it, and that goes into the other thing that I wanted to talk about, which was start looking at and noticing your surroundings right here in the physical world. We've talked about the concept before about, well, if you don't notice what's around you, you wouldn't notice if anything changed. And so it's one of those things where, well, this is the mediumship card, so I might as well address it. But there'll be times when something was somewhere, like I saw something, and then later on I wasn't sure. Did I really see that? So sometimes, and a lot of times, if you do see things and you're not paying attention or you're distracted or whatever, you'll see it out of the corner of your eye. So that's not even a real great view. But, there's been times when I was walking, driving down the street, to where I was driving towards something that would have been like horrifying to people, if they had seen it just standing there on the side of the road. And, you have to be a pretty controlled person to kind of, not swerve your car into oncoming traffic. But, honestly, like, it is, when you pay attention, when you just pay attention and you just notice, I know sometimes it might be hard. I mean, again, this is the mediumship card, so we're going to talk about it. But when you see something that is like I'm not talking about, things that you see. I'm talking about like beings right now. As we discuss the mediumship card, I'm talking about like beings. As you do see things like that, just keep in mind, just notice it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because the wording here is, noticing your surroundings right here in the physical world. And I guess some really good advice that's helped me is I haven't seen everything like dark beings. I've seen more like dark energy. I've seen it in a lot of different forms. It's mobile. It knows it exists. All that jazz. So even if it's not a person, it knows it's a thing. But as far as like the things that I've heard maybe from some other people, or certain stories that have been told by people who were terrified, a lot of times noticing it, I was gonna say rationalize, but not rationalizing so much, because you can't really. If you see like a darker being, a lot of times they've just kind of chosen to evolve a different way than we have. So it might look strange. I think that's what's so shocking to everybody, is because they might look strange. And sometimes people produce these videos and stuff. Like I've seen pictures and stuff. Most of the time it is pictures on YouTube, where they'll catch something they didn't mean to catch. They took like a picture of their girlfriend, but behind them there was this like weird looking thing, and they're debating on whether or not it was edited into the photo or whatever is going on. Again, noticing your surroundings. But I will say that sometimes when you're taking the picture, you don't see it till it's on the film. Like you're looking through the camera, maybe you can see it, but if you're not, you might not. So it just depends. And there's a whole other thing too about like, if you don't believe in it, you might not see it. You could be standing next to somebody who's looking at a UFO going, look at it, don't you see it? And you'd be like, no. I don't believe in that anyway. You know, you might not see it. So it's one of those where if you pay attention to your surroundings and you know about stuff like this, then when things are a little out of place, you'll notice it, you know. And I really wasn't going to bring it up, but it keeps coming up in my head. So I feel like they want me to bring it up. But, you know, yeah, it's kind of like a spoiler alert, like if you wanted to watch The Haunting of Hill House. So I don't know if you want to like skip over the next couple minutes or whatever on that, but you know, the reason why it keeps coming up, noticing your surroundings, is, and I don't recommend watching that, by the way. Especially if you're an empath or you got anything like this going on, if you're on this channel, I don't recommend watching that. You know, when you watch things like that, you bring negative energies towards you, and I've already told you they're sentient. So it is what it is. You know, other people can tell you if you don't believe it, it won't happen. I'm here to tell you it's not true. So, you know, I did watch it at one time, and, you know, the whole kind of series, it's like a one, like a one season series or whatever, but like the whole series, the siblings are arguing about what it was like to grow up in the same haunted house. They were all in the same house, but they all had like different experiences. And they would show you through their stories or just as, you know, flashbacks or whatever was going on, you know, that they were encountering different entities in the house. They weren't all encountering the same entities or the same phenomenon. So yes, of course, you know, their experiences were different, but on top of that, in the story, there's a few empaths, and it kind of messes with them, that being in that having all that in their energy field and having these spirits kind of you know, be there. A lot of times, if you could draw the spirits, they can see you, kind of light up to them. You know, usually the lower vibrational spirits are drawn to lower vibrational people, but you know, that's like a whole other video. But yeah, so in that show, they were all arguing about what they'd seen, what had happened, what was done, and the guy that had written the book about the experience, that had made like the money on the experience, which was a whole other sideline to that story. Towards the end, his father, who was never a believer of what was going on in that house, never saw anything to his recollection except for what drove them out of the house in the end, told him one thing. He had written in the book this thing about this. There was always workmen in the house, you know, there's always people working in the house. And so there's always people in the house. It was one of the things that would mess with the mom, because there was always noise and hammering and pounding and people, and she couldn't really get away from it, you know. But on top of that, he had mentioned this man in the hallway fixing this grandfather clock, right? Nobody else talked about this man, but in this book, he talks about this. One of the workers is a man who's fixing this grandfather clock. And later on, it would come out from his father. He would say, you know, it's funny too, because I know this about like grandfather clocks, or like certain grandfather clocks. I can't remember all the details, but his father had told him, you know, yeah, nobody ever fixed that grandfather clock. Like, it takes a special kind of technician and a special tool. And he told him, I was never able to, like, I can't remember the exact story, but he was like, no one ever was working on that grandfather clock. And he just assumed, because there was other people in the house and things going on, that there was a man standing there. But a lot of times, you know, people, they take things for granted. They don't pay attention a lot. And then they have to go back, like, over the video or something and figure out what the hell happened there. You know, like when you're walking in a crowd and you're shooting video, and then all of a sudden this person comes out of nowhere, and you're like, okay, maybe the trajectory of the way they were walking was one way, and then maybe they just moved, and, you know, all of a sudden, and, you know, but sometimes when you watch a video, you go, that is weird. That person just came out of nowhere, you know. And that, again, is a whole separate video. But if you start to notice stuff like that, if you start to notice Your surroundings, you pay attention, you know. Again, down here below, the spirit world can use everything your physical eye records as visual prompts in the future. If you follow this advice, you'll be training your eyes and your mind to notice and store more. And you see something else later on, you kind of go, oh, that kind of looks like this thing, or oh, it's kind of acting like this. Maybe it does this, you know, without actually being, you know, upset over it, you know. Clairvoyance it's a great thing to cultivate. People have had fun cultivating it in the past, you know. And as far as white light, and it talked a lot about white light protection and like your, you know, the universe protecting you, but also, you know, again, if you're on a spiritual awakening, you're, you know, it might be hard for you to believe, but yeah, you are protected by God. You know, you've come down here to do. I know sometimes it's hard to believe because you've like been through a lot of stuff, and you don't feel protected. You feel like your ass is hanging out in the wind, you know. But a lot of times when you figure out that your part of your path was to go through those things and then come out of them, you know, and realize that you didn't die. Then you understand a lot of times, especially if you know you're a different person and that part of it is over. Even if you experience things in your life that are coming that are difficult, you'll know that it wasn't like part of that past pummeling that you used to get, that things have changed, you're a different person and that's over. It's much easier to understand that not only are you protected by the universe, but you're protected by God. You're protected by your guardian angels. You're protected by your ancestors. And on top of that, you're protected by, if you want Archangel Michael's protection, just ask him. He or the rest of your angels and guardians are not going to step in without you saying something. They know what you want from them, but you have to ask them. They do not interfere. They won't look at your life and go, well, if we just drove this person away, that person would be happy. They don't do that. And they don't drive people away. You can't be like, can you drive this guy away? Again, he might be in your life for you to learn something. But, you know, yeah, you can work with these angels, not just Archangel Michael, but any of the angels, including your angels. My angels know me. You know, they know what I want. You know, they know what kind of protection I want. So you can talk to them, and again, you know, ancestors, a lot of times they're there to kind of sometimes like help guide you, but also to protect you, and sometimes even to protect you from like other family members, you know, or situations that shouldn't be. So, you know, that white light, yes, you can surround yourself with it. Yes, you can fill yourself with it. You know, yes, you can, you know, shine it like a flashlight out of your heart if you want. And if something that's dark comes at you, this book alluded to it. I don't want to find the page again, but, you know, if something dark comes at you, it's dark because it doesn't like the light. So just, you know, have fun with this because, you know, you shine light on things and it's a whole different ball game. Think about that. That's a lot of information. Hopefully these cards will come out again with other cards and we'll get more into that white light card for sure. Until we meet again.